All right, all of you concentrate. Now we are going to have a new topic today, which is called key joints. Key. Okay, the name itself indicates it will really work like a key. Okay, uh, there are many types of keys. We'll have a brief discussion of all the keys conventionally. In the later stage, I'll try to explain you the standards related to keys also. Okay, now before moving on to this topic, let me focus on again. I'll just come back to the previous discussion. For example, if I would like to clamp or fix these two elements, the general discussion what we had is I can fix these two either with the help of a hexagonal nut bolt or a square nut bolt arrangement, all right, or else with the help of a riveted joint, or else I can go with a welding operation. Okay, there is a possibility that I can go with hexagonal nut and bolt arrangement, or else square nut and bolt arrangement, or else I can use a rivet, which is our previous discussion. All right, now coming to hexagonal and square nut bolt, these are temporary fasteners. You can say temporary fasteners. Coming to riveted joints, it is a permanent fastener. All right, this is the discussion we had till the previous session. All right, now the question is in case of a flat rectangular sheets or a square sheets, you are going with this kind of arrangement, that is fine. But how about a shaft? When you have a cylindrical shaft of this kind, I would like to join these two. This is shaft number 1, and let us call this as shaft number 2. These are two shafts which are having some dimensions. Let us say this is maintaining a dimension of d1, this is also maintaining a diameter of d1 and having a length of 100 meters. This is also having a length of 100 meters. I would like to join these two. Okay, why would you like to join is a question. Now for example, if you know about a turbine which is a prime mover, what you call, which is a prime mover, I am giving you the application point of it. Okay, so one end of the shaft, for example, one end of the shaft is connected to the turbine. One end of the shaft is connected to a turbine and the another end is connected to a generator. Okay, so in between these two shafts, if I would like to make any coupling, if I would like to join these two shafts together, okay, for example, this is shaft number 1 and this is shaft number 2. If I want to join these two, what I try to do is I'll try to mount a hub over it. Okay, from this side I'll try to mount a hub. For example, the hub diameter, internal diameter is again should match with whatever the diameter of the shaft is, and the external diameter is should be 2 times of the internal diameter, and there should be a length maintained. What length should be maintained, all these discussions will have. All right, and this is the internal position of a hole. Okay, when I place this I just call this as a hub. When I place the hub over from one side to the other, the 2D representation of hub is going to be something like this. All right, this is how it is going to be. Now I just try to place it from one side to the other, then I need to lock the hub and the shaft. That is the main idea. Why would you lock means, here this is going to rotate. Okay, when you apply some torque to it, okay, it will rotate with some speed, maybe with 2000 rpm, rotations per minute. When this particular shaft rotates with 2000 rpm, there might be some misalignments. It is not compulsory that the shaft and the hub should rotate with the same speed. There might be some mismatch between the speed, if you are, unless and until if you fix these two. Now to fix these two shafts, it is not possible with the help of hexagonal nut bolt, square nut bolt, or else a rivet, or else a welding. It is not at all possible with welding also, because it is going to exhibit a speed of 2000 rpm or else a 4000 rpm, which is a very high speed comparatively. Alright, so in such scenario, what exactly we'll try to do is, we'll try to go with a simple key arrangement. I'll show you how exactly key look like. Now a simple key looks something like this. There are different types of keys, those types we'll discuss. Let me give you the conventional representation of a key. This is the conventional representation of a key, which will have a width and thickness followed by a length. Alright, length, width, thickness. Alright, this we call it as a flat key, or you likewise you have different types of keys, those types we'll discuss now. So conventionally consider this as a key. Now I make use of this key. Now what I try here is, I just try to drill a hole in the hub area. Okay, I just try to drill a slot in the hub area. Now the size of the slot, size of this particular slot should maintain a size of W by T, because this is the key I am going to manufacture for my application point. For that reason, what I try to do is, based on the width and thickness of the key, I'll try to drill a hole over here. Okay, and it should maintain a length, no? So this is, let us say, that particular length. Alright, this is that particular length. Now when I place this hub from one side to the other, so in the front view, that particular keyway may look something like this. Okay, hidden, because it is completely invisible from the front view. I was just showing you with a hidden line. This is how it look like. Alright, now likewise throughout the circumference, I'll try to place 2 or 3 keyways. Okay, this slot we call it as a keyway. We call this slot as a keyway. Try to understand. Alright, and now how many elements we have? Shaft number 1 is one element, shaft number 2 is another element, and a hub is called as third element. Other than the third element, there is a keyway. Now in this keyway, we are going to place a key. That key we call it as fourth element. Okay, the idea here is not to weld, not to rivet, not to use a square nut bolt, not to use a hexagonal nut bolt, but only way is, with the help of a key arrangement, you can lock the hub and the shaft. Okay, now these two shafts are under butt arrangement, number 1 point. Number 2, hub is placed over it, okay, symmetrically from the midpoint, from the butt joint on either sides. It is equally distributed, the hub portion is equally placed. Okay, after that I am placing a keyway inside. When you place a key in between the shaft and the hub, this key going to lock both the elements. Try to understand. Okay, this key going to lock both the elements. Now if I show you the front view of this particular arrangement, let us consider a front view of this particular arrangement. Now this blue color one is a hub. I'll just try to draw this blue color, that hub with a blue color. This is the hub from the front. Now for example, if I view the component from the side, the outer portion of the hub is a bigger diameter, and internally there is a small circle D1 and a keyway which you could see. Okay, there is a keyway which is completely visible. Now as we know, there is a shaft inserted. Let us take green color for your understanding. Let us consider this as the shaft portion. Here is a shaft which got inserted till here. Now I am going to take this particular key and insert from this here. When I insert from here, it will go with some tightness. I just knock it with the help of a hammer or some other arrangement. Okay, from the side, this is how the arrangement is going to be. This key going to catch hold of the hub and the shaft. Okay, this is how a key will work. Like in general, you lock your room, no, with the help of a lock and a key arrangement. So in a similar fashion, to lock this hub and shaft, what we'll try to do is we'll try to use a keyway. Okay, now these keyways are different types, and these key shapes are also different types. That discussion we'll have. I think I'm very clear now. Try to understand. The only idea to use a key is to uh, clamp both shaft and the hub. Okay, now this key acts as a removable fastener. You can call this key as what? Removable fastener. Now this is also a fastener, but you can remove whenever you want. That is possible. Whereas in case of a riveted joint, this is not at all possible. If you try to remove it, what happens? Complete sheet will get spoiled. Okay, that is what we have discussed now. So this is also a temporary joint. Now key is also a temporary joint. When and where required, you can remove it. Okay, assembly and removal of these joints are easy as they are simple in shape. Now the shape of the key is very simple. Only thing is few changes you find from one key to the other. Okay, try to remember this is also a temporary fastener. Whenever you want, you can remove it. Okay, based on different types of keys. Those keys are used under different loading conditions. That discussion we'll have now. All right, if you have any queries till now, you can ask me right now. Now, sir? Yes.
కీ ఇప్పుడు హబ్ కొన్న షాఫ్ట్ కు పెడతాం కదా, అంటే
Yes.
ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఫ్లిప్ అవ్వదా సార్ మరి?
No, now that discussion I'm going to have now. General idea I'm given just now. General idea I have given. You have different types of keys. Those types I'll discuss now so that you'll understand. All right?
ఒకవేళ బాగా టైట్ అంటే
Yeah.
కరెక్ట్ డైమెన్షన్ ఉన్నప్పుడు
Hmm.
అంటే ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయడానికి కూడా
Yes. The key will have a taper session, actually. Key will definitely have a taper session. That discussion I'm going to have now when I discuss about types. All right? After this discussion, if you are clear with your answer, then it is fine, or else again you can ask me. All right? Now coming to keys, we have different types. Basically, first one we call it as a saddle key. This is one type. Number 2, sunk keys. Okay, saddle key is one type, sunk key is the another type. All right, coming to the saddle key, it is again classified into two types. Okay, you can call it as a hollow key, saddle key, or else a flat saddle key. Okay, flat saddle key. Coming to the sunk keys, you have types in this also. Number 1 is taper sunk. We call this as a taper sunk key. This is one type of arrangement. All right, other than this, you have parallel or feather keys. You can call parallel feather keys, which also comes under sunk keys only. Okay, parallel keys or feather keys. Okay, this discussion we'll try to finish off this discussion today. Okay, now coming to this particular saddle key, let me give you a briefing of what exactly saddle keys are. These saddle, just now which I have drawn a simple sketch before, let us call this as a simple representation, 3D representation of a key for your understanding. Okay, out of this, let me call this as the width, and this is thickness. The overall is a length. Try to understand, the overall is the length. Now coming to the saddle keys, there will be a taper section on the top surface. Okay, with now uniform width will be there. Width will be uniform throughout. Okay, if you if you try to calculate the width at any cross section at any point of the length, then the width will be same. But when it comes to the thickness of the sheet, for example, the thickness will come down from one side to the other. For example, here the thickness maintained is 10 mm. Thickness of the key maintained is 10 mm. If you go throughout the length, at the end there might be a thickness of 9 mm, or else there might be a thickness of 8.5 mm. Okay, means there is a taper session. Try to understand, there is a taper session of 1:100. Means what is the meaning of taper session 1:100? Means, try to understand, at every 10 mm length, there is a reduction of 1 mm. That is the meaning of 1:100. Means we consider the overall length as 100%. Try to consider the overall length as 100%. If the overall length is 100%, then what we try to do, we will try to reduce by an amount of 1 mm for every 10 mm length. Means for a length of 100 mm we are going to reduce by 10 mm. Try to understand, for a length of 100 mm, we are going to reduce by 10 mm. That is the logic. That is nothing but a taper session. Okay, for example, if the length of the key is 100 mm, then the taper session is going to be 10 mm. Means here whatever the thickness you are using, the thickness is going to drop down to a length of 10 mm. Okay, for example, if it is maintaining 50 mm, when you come to the end of the key, here it is going to maintain thickness of 40 mm. That is the meaning. If here it is maintaining 30 mm, at the end you could see it as 20 mm. If the overall length is 100, try to remember, if the overall length is 100, then only this is applicable. Try to understand. From the taper session of 1:100, the symbol of taper session will always be something like this. Okay, means initially there is a actual thickness maintained, but further as you go throughout the length, it is going to drop down. This is the meaning of 1:100. Means throughout a length of 100 mm, there should be a reduction of 1 mm for every 10 mm. That is the meaning of this particular 1:100 ratio. But when we comes to our actual sketches, what you draw in your sheet, we don't maintain any 100 mm actually. Okay, the length will be hardly 25 mm, 30 mm you will get. Okay, those standards I'll show you. The length will be hardly 25 mm or 30 mm. So in such scenario, what exactly we need to do? If you try to calculate according to this concept, then there might be, then what happens, the sheet, the thickness may come and join exactly here, or it may cross also sometimes. So you don't find any thickness at the end of the sheet, at the end of the key or back side of the key. That is the main problem. So we don't actually follow this concept when we consider some conventional dimensions. When the length of the key is 20 mm or 30 mm, what we'll try to do is, initial whatever the thickness we got, we'll take it, and to the back side we'll try to reduce that particular thickness to 1 mm. Simply we'll try to reduce it by 1 mm or 0.5 mm when the length of the key is very small. Okay, try to understand this logic. Okay, now these saddle keys will have uniform width by tapering in thickness on the upper side only. Means here this particular key will have bottom side as completely flat, but when it comes to the top surface will have some taper session. Whatever the thickness maintained here will not be maintained to the back side, it will be reduced by 1 mm. That is what I discussed just now. Alright, so here this is T, this is W, this is L. Try to understand. This got reduced by 1:100. Throughout a length it got reduced. That information will try to convey. What you call it as this 1:100, the magnitude of taper going to be 1:100. Okay, and these saddle keys again made of two types. One is hollow, one is flat. What is hollow, what is flat, we'll see now. Hollow, nothing but the hollow key is represented something like this. The bottom flat surface is going to be in concave shape. This bottom is going to be concave, and height will remain, thickness will remain same, all right, and the length, whatever the length we have calculated, we need to follow, try to understand. Okay, throughout the length you have a concave shape arrangement, something like this, three-dimensional representation. All right, throughout the length you have a concave shape profile. Okay, now how this particular arrangement is going to be, that discussion we have. Okay, a hollow saddle key, mute yourself now, somebody, some noise I could hear in this, let me mute. Okay, okay, this hollow saddle key has a concave shape bottom to the suit, to suit the curved surface of the shaft. Okay, this concave shape going to sit on the, this is going to sit on the shaft properly. Okay, the concave shape depends on the diameter of the shaft which you are supposed to use. Okay, so how this arrangement is going to be, let us have a small discussion on it. Coming to the hollow, let us consider this as the hub portion, this as the hub portion, and this as the internal diameter of hub portion. If this is the case, we need to have a keyway. Let us consider, let me erase this portion and draw keyway. Let us consider this as the keyway. Till here it is fine. Okay, now I am taking this particular key and inserting from the front. Then what happens? What I could see is, I could see only this profile, this shape. Okay, so that shape going to sit here in the inside this, and the profile concave shape will take the shape of the shaft, something like this. Means three-dimensional. I'll try to show you the representation. We'll see the 3D representation. This is the internal diameter of the circle. This is the external diameter of the hub portion. Then let us consider this as the length of the hub portion, something like this, and there will be a through hole from one side to the other. So let me take this through hole as invisible hole, and there is a through hole indication. This is fine, but here you find you have a keyway. So that keyway I am going to represent now. This the key going to take the shape of the shaft followed by the height, something like this. It is going to be fixed something like this. So everything will be hidden. So I'll just try to make it hidden. I just try to make things hidden.
Sir, you can use the different color. Very clear.
Oh, okay, ma. Now is this clear? Green color, because I have drawn or represented this key as green color, no? That is the reason I am taking green color here. This is how it is going to fix, ma. The main idea here is, better what I try is, I'll take some other color, as you said, some other color for the shaft portion, something like this. Okay, a shaft is positioned something like this. For example, I have inserted a shaft inside a hub, then I am going to lock a hub and the shaft. That is the main idea of using a keyway, no? Okay, keys are machine elements. These keys are machine elements used to prevent relative rotational movement between a shaft and the hub. These keys are used to prevent the relative motion between hub and the shaft. That is the main idea. When I rotate this complete element, with some RPM of 2000 RPM 2000, then what should be my intention? Both the elements like shaft, key and the hub should rotate with the same speed. There should not be any irrelevant speed between the three elements. That is the reason I am going to log these two. Try to understand the logic. Why we are using a key means to prevent the relative movement or motion between two elements. That is the main logic. Okay, let us say this particular shaft is continued till to the other side. Then you have an idea, you will get an idea. This is how the arrangement is going to be. Now the idea is to log these two arrangements. Okay, this is how it is going to be in case of a hollow key. But whereas in case of a flat key, in case of this particular flat key, the complete key is flat. There won't be any concave shape to the bottom. Okay, there won't be any concave shape. Only thing is you have a flat, complete flat key, something like this. There will be a flat surface, a width, a thickness, followed by a length. Okay, so this is called a flat saddle key. The bottom surface is also flat apart from the tapered keyway in the hub. Okay, so here you have a bottom surface fix. This is T, W, this is L. Simply you have a complete flat surface. Okay, but coming to the top surface, coming to this particular top surface, here this is completely tapered. Okay, tapered, as I said here, which about tapering, there will be a taper session. If for example the thickness of the key is 10 mm, then when it move throughout the length from one side to the other, here the thickness is supposed to be 9 mm. Okay, we actually need to reduce, for every 10 mm we need to reduce by 1 mm. If that logic we can't apply here, because the overall length is not very much high. You find around 25-30 mm when it comes to your specifications. You have some standard specifications also. I'll try to show you the 3D representation of it now. Let me use the same. Now coming to the 3D representation of a flat key, what happens, it is directly going to sit on the top surface of the shaft. Okay, so here what happens means, just have a look, the difference between hollow and shaft. Here what happens, the shaft will have a circumference, but the thing is, here on the top face where exactly key going to sit, here the surface is completely straight, flat, completely straight. Try to understand. Here the surface is completely straight. Okay, so on that straight surface we are going to arrange a key, something like this, because it is a rectangular key. This is how it is going to be arranged. Okay, you have a hub in the, you have a slot in the hub portion and key going to sit something like this. Okay, now in case of a, this is about a flat key. Okay, in case of saddle, this is about a flat key, where flat key will completely insert inside the hub portion. Okay, this particular key will insert inside the, completely inside the hub portion, means key going to take the portion of hub. Okay, but not the shaft portion. Whereas in case of hollow key also, same thing you could see, same kind of arrangement you could see, where complete hollow key is taking a portion of hub, complete 100%, whereas in case of a flat key only some 1 mm or 0.5, 0.2 mm portion of shaft is taken by the flat key, because we are taking it as a straight surface. Here we are making it as a straight surface. Same thing I would like to present here. Wait a minute, let me erase some points. Again I'll just try to represent three-dimensionally. Let us consider this as the shaft. All right, and this is the length of the shaft. This is fine, complete length of the shaft. Let me join something like this. Till here it is okay. Now I would like to place a keyway directly just to make you understand. Then what I do, I'll try to, based on the length of the key, I'll try to file it. I'll try to file the portion. This portion I would like to file. Okay, this is the area where exactly key is going to be positioned. So this area I'll just try to make it flat. Okay, not circumferential. I just try to make it flat. Then what I do is I'll go with the hub portion. This is the, let us consider this as the hub portion, external one. This is the internal one, and there is a keyway. Alright, this is the length of the hub, length, and the keyway is still some distance. What distance, we'll see that. Alright, there will be a, this is the hub portion. This is how it is going to be. Try to understand now. Let us consider a key also. Let us consider this as a flat key. This as a flat key. Now with some taper on the top. Okay, taper on the top means this top surface is inclined with respect to the horizontal. Okay, this top surface and bottom surface are not parallel to each other. Those two are maintaining some inclination. Now I am taking this particular flat key, placing it over here. For your understanding, I am doing this practice. Try to concentrate. This is how a key is placed on the flat surface. Now because the bottom of the flat key is also completely flat, that is the reason we are filing the shaft circumference, okay, of whatever the width and length maintained by that particular key. Okay, now after this what we can do is we can arrange this particular hub. When I place the hub, what happens, this key try to come out, this key try to pull outside, then we'll try to hammer it. Okay, one of the student asked me a question about how we place the key inside, how tight we can place it. Means now here this is in between, this is maintaining a width, tight width, no, whatever the thickness and width it is maintaining, it is tough to insert actually in between shaft and the hub, but as it is maintaining a taper section, you can hammer it. Okay, to tighten these two shaft and the hub, you can hammer the key. That is possible. Now students, listen there is only 1 minute left for this session. After this session closes, please rejoin so that we can continue with the discussion. All right, this is how it happens. Now if you try to just try to incorporate a hub over it, so that maybe you have an idea. This is the hub portion, internal. I'll change the color to the hub color. This is how it is going to be, followed by there will be a outer shaft portion, then this is how it is going to be, then this is the periphery. All right, now internally, when I place the hub from the top, what happens, internal Okay, let us continue with the same discussion. If you are joining in, okay. Now this is how the arrangement of a hollow key or a flat key is going to be in case of a simple shaft and hub arrangement. Okay, where these keyways are used in case of low duty applications, not very high duty applications. In case of a low duty application, we'll go with this. For example, you can say in case of pulleys arrangement, gear arrangements, or wheels arrangement, couplings, this particular keyways are used. Okay, that is how the arrangement is going to be. Let me draw the representation. What exactly you people need to do in case of an examination? Let us see. Coming to your examination point, you need to draw the representation. Okay, whether it is a hollow or a flat key, the people need to draw the representation of it. Okay, no need to draw any 3D views of the component or a key. All right, let us consider this as the hub portion. This is the hub portion where shaft going to insert. This is the hub. This is how I could show you. All right, and if it is where we need to insert a key also, so that will take simply this position. Okay, here is the keyway. It will maintain a certain distance. That details will go, distance details will go, and there is a shaft. I'll change the color of the shaft. There is a shaft having a diameter of whatever the diameter maintained by the hub, and the overall length of some 100 mm or 50 mm. We are not bothered about the specifications now. Now my idea is I would like to insert a shaft inside the hub. This we call it as a hub. This is a hub and this is a shaft. Circular element, cylindrical element you can say. Okay, now both are maintaining diameter of d1. This is also maintaining a diameter of d1. Outer diameter here you call it as d2. Till here it is fine. Now my idea is to arrange this shaft inside this. When I insert it, what happens? Some portion will completely go inside and rest of the portion will come out, something like this. The portion which is coming out is completely visible to us. All right, and the portion which is front side is also visible. This is how the arrangement is going to be. All right, now these two should lock. So what I try to do, I'll take some other color for your understanding purpose. This is, let us consider this as the key which is maintaining W and T. What is W, what is T, that discussion we'll have now. As of now I am representing everything conventionally. Let us consider this as the key. Okay, this is element number 1, this is element number 2, this is element number 3. I'm making use of all the three just to prevent the relative movement between the component number 1 and 2. Okay, so for that I'll just take this key and place it here, whether it could be a flat key or a round hollow key. Okay, and this is going to insert up to some length, something like this. Okay, so that this particular key will help, this key will help to lock the hub and the shaft. Okay, if it is a hollow key, as I said, you have a concave shape in the bottom, something like this. If it is a flat, then you have a bottom flat surface, but in both the cases you have a taper section. Try to remember, in both the cases the top surface you have, top surface is tapered. Unless it is tapered, you can't insert inside. Okay, unless it is tapered you can't. For example, if you want to insert a nail inside the wall, what you try to do initially, nowadays initially you will try to drill a hole. After that you try to place a wooden piece inside it. That wooden piece is going to be of this shape, if you could remember. Okay, wooden pieces of this kind, because the whatever the dimensions W and T maintained here in the front will not be maintained in the back, because it is somewhat tapered in cross section, comparatively tapered in cross section. Try to understand, width will remain same but thickness will vary. That is what it means. This is how this will work. Coming to the application point of it, you can clamp in case of these keys are used in case of pulleys, gears, wheels, couplings, arrangements. Okay, this is about a hollow key and a flat key. Okay, we'll go into details of the standards within minute or two. Okay, that detail we'll see. Now after this, saddle key, these two are nothing but saddle keys. This is also saddle. This is how the arrangement is going to, but the logic remains same, arrangement almost remains same, but thing is the key shape size will vary. That is the only difference. Okay, now in the examination also they ask you to draw the representation of saddle keys. Draw the representation of a saddle key conventionally. So here you need to consider your own dimensions, means diameter of the shaft, diameter of the internal and external diameter of the hub, and width thickness, what you call width by thickness by length of the key is also conventionally you have to consider. Okay, and show, and the taper session you have to represent there also, that is also important. Okay, but in case of your examination, no need to draw these 3D representation. Only thing is, if this is the arrangement, you need to show the arrangement, that's it. For example, if I view this particular component from the front and from the side, how exactly it is going to look like, that representation we need to show. I'll show you one and I'll move on to the next topic. This is the, let me draw this as, let me take the same color so that you'll understand. This is the outer circle or outer diameter of the hub. This is the internal diameter of the hub. Okay, now let us imagine that the shaft is already inserted. This is the portion where shaft got inserted, means we are showing the cut section so that the other person will understand. And to show the keyway remain like a box only, something like this. And side view, we need to represent the side view also. From the side, if you look at the component will maintain some length, so it is going to maintain, the hub is maintaining some length, followed by, here it is closing somewhere, here it is closing. Okay, this is the axis line. Okay, then there will be a shaft portion. Here it is, I just try to place this shaft somewhere here. There is a shaft inserted which is coming out. If it is coming out, it is visible completely. Okay, this side also I'll try to make things visible just for your understanding. This is fine, but to lock these two, what we'll try with a keyway. I'll go with a color. Now this is the keyway in between two components. This is how it is going to be. Okay, this is the front view of the arrangement, this is the side view of the arrangement. Okay, and here is your key. Okay, if it is a hollow key, you have a circumference, something curvily concave shape you have. If it is a flat key, you have a straight surface. That is only difference, simple difference. Okay, this is how it is going to be. Now let us discuss about Sankis. Let me close this. If you
Sir.
have yes,
సార్ మన ఏం అనేది రెండు షాఫ్ట్ ని జాయిన్ చేయాలి కదా సార్.
join చేయడము మళ్ళీ both should rotate with same speed. Now we are working, I mean these two will work under some conditions, no, for example it is a turbine arrangement or a coupling arrangement, those two will rotate. So the idea is to rotate these two, hub and the shaft, with the same speed.
సార్ ఇప్పుడు హబ్ లేకుండా షాఫ్ట్ రొటేట్ అవుతుంది కదా సార్.
Hub what?
ఇప్పుడు హబ్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు హబ్
Ah.
లేకుండానే షాఫ్ట్ రొటేట్ అవుతుంది కదా సార్. అంటే ఒకటే సింగిల్ షాఫ్ట్ తీసుకుంటే.
Okay, now here, okay,
Okay.
I got it. Coupling, do you know the arrangement of a coupling, ma? Coupling,
sir.
coupling arrangement. I just draw that sketch so that you'll understand. For example, the coupling is going to be something like this. Let us say this has one coupling where there is a hole from one side to the other, one flange, you can say. This is the another flange. All right. Okay, this is flange 1, this is flange number 2. There I have explained you the concept of a key, just a concept of a key, but as you having doubt, let me take this as shaft number 1. This is shaft number 1, this is shaft number 2, 1 and 2. All right. Now the idea is, when I rotate, I would like to transmit power or the torque from one shaft to the other. Okay, from one shaft to the other, I would like to transmit the torque or the power, speed or the power. Then what I do, I'll insert this particular shaft from one side. This is a shaft, and this shaft from another side. Okay, then both will come and join somewhere here in the name of butt. Okay, I'll just join them both, something like this. All right. Now what I do, I'll try to bring these two couplings closer. I'll try to bring the couplings closer so that you'll understand. The idea is not just to clamp, the idea is to transmit torque or the power also. Okay, let us consider this as one more flange of the coupling. All right, this is the shaft portion. Let me change the color. This is the shaft portion, this is the inserted one. Okay, both got butted somewhere here. Now to lock these two, what I can do is, I can use a keyway. I can simply make use of a keyway somewhere here. Try to understand. Here is one and here is another. At some 90 degrees you find one more key, 90 degrees one more, or else 60 degrees one more, something like. Throughout the circumference you will try to place 2 or 3 keys. Now this key will help the shaft to be in alignment and clamp with the coupling. And to clamp these two couplings, what I do, I'll try to go with hexagonal nut and bolt arrangement, something like this. This is the application point. All right, this is how it is going to be, and this is the bolt portion, this is the nut portion. Wait a minute, somebody is entering. All right, the idea is, I would like to transmit the torque from one shaft to the other. That I can't do with the help of welding or riveting or nut bolt arrangement. So what I'm trying to do, as these two shafts are circular in cross section, and I'm using a coupling arrangement which is made of 2 flanges. Okay, or else you can say hubs. There are 2 hubs or a one single hub. What I'm trying to do, I'm placing one shaft from one side and one second shaft from the other side, placing it in butt position to make them both, to arrest the relative motion between hub and the shaft. To arrest the relative motion between hub and the shaft, I'm making use of a key. Is this clear now? Okay, this end may be
Yes, sir.
connected to a turbine, this end may be connected to a turbine, where turbine is acts as a prime mover. It will give some torque to the shaft. The shaft starts rotating with the same speed. The another shaft which is connected to maybe a generator, okay, should also rotate with the same rpm. Maybe this is rotating with 2000, this should also rotate with 2000 rpm. Simply, if I make use of a hub over it, it won't be so effective. Okay, I should, just to lock these two shafts, I am using a hub and a key. Okay, these two shafts, to connect these two shafts or to transmit power or the torque from one shaft to the other, my idea is to make use of a hub and a key. Alright, as we are dealing with 3D views, sorry, circular components, try to understand, we are using circular components, not flat components. This is how it is going to be. That is the main idea. Alright, so now let us talk about sunk keys. The idea is same, but in some cases hollow key will not work, flat key will not work, because it is going to take a very less amount of loading conditions. You can't go up to very higher level of RPMs in such scenario. Now, what should be the dimension of a key, what should be the length, what should be the thickness and width, these all decisions will try to make it when we deal with the subject called design of machine members. Okay, by using permutations and combination options, we'll try to go with it. Okay, now for example, if this is the key, what should be the length, what should be the width and thickness. Okay, W, T, W and L are decided based on the calculations. What are the calculations that we'll try to do? We'll try to do some strength calculations. Okay, based on these strength calculations, we fix the dimensions proportion, one proportion to the other. If the thickness is some 10 mm, W should be this much, length should be this much. All these proportions you find in the soft copy which I have sent you. Okay, there are different proportions given. If the thickness is 12 mm, then what should be W? That is already fixed. What should be length? That is also fixed. Okay, so these are all the simple calculations which you have for this. Those calculations also I'll discuss now in case of sunk keys. Okay, coming to this sunk key, it is also one type of key where used to prevent the relative motion between two elements. Those two elements are nothing but hub and the shaft. Okay, now coming to this particular sunk key, the only difference you see here is taper is common. Taper sunk key you have, and different types of feather keys you have. These sunk keys are classified into types. Okay, number 1, taper. Number 1 is taper key. Number 2, parallel keys. Number 3, Woodruff key. Okay, Woodruff key. This is broadly classified into 3 types. Now these sunk keys are used in heavy duty applications. Heavy duty application, it all depends on the conditions where exactly you are going to use the type of key. Okay, comparatively, if you compare with hollow or flat key, sunk keys are more stronger, which can withstand higher loads. So that is the reason I said these are used in heavy duty. Okay, as a fit between the shaft and the hub. So again the same concept or same logic will go, but only thing is the shapes will change. Shape of the key is completely different. I'll just try to draw the shape of the key. Just try to understand. The shape will be, some length will remain, and there will be a height. There will be a height and a thickness. This we call it as a thickness, and this is the height, and there is a drop down here. something like this, followed by a width. This is vertical, slant, horizontal, then this is a 3D representation of a key. Now out of this 3D representation, this is called length of the shaft, and from top to bottom we call this as the height of the shaft, and this small one as the thickness of the shaft, and you have one more called B. This is represented with B. From here to this line, this is represented with a capital B. Okay, capital B here is nothing but the width of head. This is called width of head, capital B. Okay, coming to H is nothing but height of head. This is height of head, and standard taper will maintain. Standard taper nothing but this is the taper shape, which is 1:100. This is also fine. Alright, other than this, this is called the width of the key. Now the name of this particular key is nothing but key with gib head. What you call is, this is also a key with gib head. Alright, now this is called the head, gib head, which will exactly lock both the shaft and the hub portion. Okay, now this particular head will help to prevent the rotary motion between the shaft and the hub. Okay, this actually we'll understand better when you have when you visit any of the institute or organization where they use this particular kind of arrangements. Okay, in general discussion you might get many doubts in mind. Okay, now here this particular keys, some keys will have some specifications. Those specifications I'll just figure out here. Now in case of some keys, diameter will be given. Diameter will be given to you. This is fine. And width of the key, W. Width of the key W is 0.25 D plus 2 mm. This is a standard width which you need to remember. Nobody will give you in the question paper. Only thing is diameter will be given to you. Accordingly you need to calculate what is W, and again T is equal to thickness, which is equal to 0.67 W. Unless you calculate W, you can't calculate T. Okay, now this is the thickness, smaller one. And coming to the taper, we are going to use 1:100 as the taper session, which is a standard taper, what you call. And coming to the height, H is equal to 1.75 into T, capital D, this thickness. Alright, and coming to B is equal to 1.5 into T. So thickness plays a key role. Based on the thickness, all other proportions will keep on change. Okay, if diameter is equal to 20 mm, accordingly things will change. Similarly, if the diameter is 30, if the diameter is 5 mm, accordingly all other dimensions WT, W, T, B, H will change. Okay, it all depends on the question given to you, but only thing is, in case of taper Sankis, you need to remember these dimensions for key with gib head. Okay, in case of key with gib head, you need to remember all these dimensions. But one more important point to be noted here is, I'll draw the representation of taper Sankey. Now, as we have seen in case of hollow and flat key, the arrangement is simple. But in case of these two, the arrangement or the representation is something like this. You have, the hub is something, the outer portion or the outer circumference of the hub, and the internal okay, hollow, as the hub is hollow, so we'll try to draw it. Now here, when you place a keyway or a key, the key will be inserted something like this. This is how key will be inserted. Means half portion will go into hub, okay, and half portion will go into shaft. Try to understand. Now initially when you are dealing with hollow and flat key, keys are completely inserting into hub portion, but in case of this arrangement, there is a groove in the shaft also. Means the shaft is designed or developed in this way. The shaft, this is the development you could see. Means there is a groove provided in the shaft also. There is a groove provided in the shaft also. Try to understand this drawing. Initially when I was discussing about hollow and flat key, there is no groove found in shaft. Now in case of this gib headed key or feather keys, you find a groove. Means for example, if the width of this particular key is maybe 10 mm, for example, for this discussion, then 5 mm going to be in hub and 5 mm in the shaft. Try to understand. Alright, this is how it is going to be represented. So the slot is drilled in hub and a slot is drilled in the shaft portion also. Try to understand. So the key will insert in between those two. That is the reason this is used in a heavy duty, where there is no chance of releasing the key in, while it is running with some RPM. This is how the arrangement is going to be. These proportions you need to remember. You find a tabular column in the soft copy which I have sent you already. So if you try to understand the tabular column properly, then every other things become so simple. Okay, means tabular column in sense, in that table you find different diameters. Okay, for those diameters, what are the proportions of width and thicknesses, those are also given. Those are standard. For example, if the shaft diameter is 12 mm, width should be 5, thickness should be 5. Alright, those proportions are all given to you in the soft copy which I have sent you. Please go through it once. Okay, and coming to the next one, which is parallel keys or feather keys. Okay, now these parallel keys, again wait a minute, I'll just change the slide, new one. Now coming to parallel keys or the other name is feather. Okay, feather keys. Now this is again classified into types. Number one is, there is only 10 minutes left, I'll just finish off by giving you some briefing. Peg key, peg feather key, nothing but. Number two is single headed. Number three is double headed. Okay, peg feather key, single headed feather key and double headed feather key. These are the, it is broadly classified into these three types. Okay, those representations, those key diagrams I'll try to draw and I just close the session. This is general key which I had drawn from the beginning. It is the width and thickness, and there is surface top and bottom. There is a small peg arrangement over here, means this is going to be something like this. A cylindrical cross section over it. Okay, now this portion going to sit in the hub portion. This is going to sit in the hub. Okay, similarly one more single headed. This is about a peg feather key. Coming to the single headed feather key, the arrangement is going to be something like this. This is how the arrangement is. Okay, means single headed, no? This is how a head is going to be. This is the head what you call, and there is a circular hole drilled from here to the other side of the head, where you can fix a screw. Here we will try to fix a screw. Okay, so in case of heavy duty, when it is running at 4000 or 5000 rotations per minute, there won't be any chances of releasing that particular key out of the system or out of the arrangement. Okay, now out of these, this is going to be the width, here is your thickness, the overall is the length. All right, this is how it is going to be. And coming to the double headed one, double headed, you have a filleted cross section, fillets, it won't be flat. All right, here there is a straight line, this edge is straight till this point, after that it is going to take a curve down, straight, something like this, and you have a width for this, something like this. This is how it is going to be. All right, this is how it is going to be. There will be a width, and here we call this as the width, this as the length. All right, then these two lines indicate the thickness. Now this is how the double headed feather key is going to be. Okay, just go through all these topics once again, with keeping all the discussions whatever I discussed with you, so that you will understand the topic better. All right, how the arrangement is going to be, how you need to do the representation. No need to draw all the 3D representations in your examinations. Only thing is you need to show the front view, side view, whenever a key is fixed in between a shaft and the hub. Front view, side view, that is enough. No need to draw the 3D, because you are going to deal with simple things. Okay, only front portion, whenever you try to represent, only front portion is visible. No need to draw the 3D, only front portion is visible, only front portion is visible. Okay, and side portion is also visible, this side portion is visible. Only side portion for all the keys is going to be rectangle again, that is going to be invisible, which is inserted completely inside. So you need to show an invisible line, rectangle line, that's it for all the cases. Okay, a simple arrangement. Please go through it. If you have any queries, we'll discuss in the upcoming classes. This is all for today. Any queries you can ask me now.
Sir,
Yes.
so what about the material in different keys? Is it same or
Material will be completely different, ma. For example, you might have attended machine tools lab. There, if you go to a cutting material, the cutting material is going to be much harder when it compared with the raw material which we are using as a billet. Okay, HSS steel is a high steel, or a diamond cutter will use. In the same way, other than the shaft material and the hub material, we'll go with some other material which is rigid in case of a keyway. Okay, other information, again we'll continue with the same discussion. Today I have given you a simple small introduction and the representations. We'll discuss the same topic for the coming 2 lectures also. If you have any queries, make a note of it, make a point, so that you can ask me in the beginning of the session.